Hey guys, we've recently partnered with the social media platform Go Wild to combat mainstream social media censorship. If you're tired of having your hunting and outdoor posts taken down and flagged, be sure to check out Go Wild, which was built by outdoorsmen and women just like you. Go Wild is a free social community. Not only are your photos not censored, but they are also encouraged on Go Wild. Go Wild gives you points for things like sharing your trophies, gear reviews, and inviting friends. As you earn more points, you unlock awesome rewards such as gift cards, free swag, knives, and huge discounts on brands like Garmin and Vortex. Oh, and if you create a free account, you can unlock $10 just for trying it out. Use code HTW to receive 10% off your order today. Download Go Wild at gowild.com or in the App Store.
To hunt the wild, to hunt the wild, gonna hunt the wild.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hunt the Wild podcast. I'm your host, Adam Bowlds, and today I'm joined with Kirt Box. He's a Texas native, I believe, lived in Arizona a little bit, kind of lived all over the country. How you doing tonight, Kirt?
I'm doing good. We've been talking for a while. I'm excited to record this podcast. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Kurt's sipping on some. Not sure what he's sipping on. Actually, he's got a koozie around it. I don't. Maybe he's trying to hide it. He might be underage or something.
No. Silver tasties, Coors lattes. You know what
Coors
I'm
Light.
saying?
So, can you just kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you so they can get to know you, and then we're gonna dive into some of these hunting questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirt Box. I'm 28. Been hunting for a little while now. Got into archery hunting probably 7-8 years ago. Really ran with it. Was hunting in Arizona for about 8 years and recently moved back to Texas in October. So adjusting back from public land to private land, and the rest, we'll keep it for the podcast. You gotta stay tuned for that.
So tell everybody kind of how you got introduced into hunting. Tell us all where it kind of started. Did you start out maybe hunting with an uncle or a dad or something, doing small game? Did you dive straight into bow hunting? How'd that kind of all play out, and how'd you find out about hunting?
Yeah, so my family is huge into hunting, especially my grandpa, who isn't with us anymore, but he lived a full life, tons of hunting, tons of fishing, crazy stories. But he's the one that really got me into it, and my family is more of anglers, really big into fishing, and I enjoyed it, but hunting was more where my passion lied, and shot a couple of does with a rifle, and then pretty much after that was wanting to get straight into archery. I thought rifle was just too easy.
So you mentioned your family being pretty into fishing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that draws you more to hunting than fishing? Is it more of the I know hunting is a little more active. I know you do
Mm-hmm.
sit a lot, but is it more of the kind of the adventure of it, or what's the reason, I guess, that you like hunting more than fishing?
I guess everyone has their own opinion, but I just think there is more hunting opportunities than fishing, which some people may think I'm crazy for saying that, but I was living in Arizona for 8 years, like I said, and I was in southern Arizona where it's like they had like small cattle ponds that had fish, but it was like shooting monkeys in a barrel, man. It was just like, I don't know, it wasn't real. So it just really pushed me more to hunting when I lived there. But I mean, we had boats growing up. We lived on a lake for a little bit growing up, and so a lot of freshwater fishing. And my dad actually pulled more into the saltwater fishing because he lives in Corpus Christi. But I was always into bass fishing, and then my whole family was just into fishing, so I just wanted to be a little different, but still enjoy the outdoors.
So this kind of just popped in my head, but do you have anybody in your family? I know you said that you were more into bass fishing, but
Mhm.
do you have anyone in your family or maybe your friends that are just like strictly bass fishermen, like just a crazy bass
Yeah,
fisherman kind of
yeah.
person? So
So yeah.
I always had this question, or something that I've noticed. I'm more of a fish to keep kind of guy.
Okay.
Like, it's not very often that I'm gonna, as long as it's legal and everything, it's not very
Mhm.
often that I'm gonna catch like a 4 or 5 pound bass and throw it back. I'm more like keeping it. What's
Mhm.
with and maybe you're this way, but what's with people uh catch and release bass? How come guys are so anti eating bass that are bass fishermen?
So it's actually really crazy. I've always heard like bass or trash fish, but
Hmm.
my family sees catfish is trash fish. And I mean, I don't think any wildlife is like trash, you know. If it's edible, it's edible. Clearly you're not out here eating coyotes, but uh
Some people might.
no, please don't. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of grew up. If it wasn't a nice bass, you threw it back. You know, anything less than 12 inches, we kind of just tossed back. Uh, but my father-in-law, he lives in Canandaigua, New York. No, he lives in Livonia, New York. The lake is called Canandaigua, and they also fish over at Canisius Lake. I went up there this past August, and I caught quite a few nice bass. And I went to go throw one back, and he was offended. He's like, "No, no, no! We have a fish fry every year. Like, you keep those." I was like, "Okay." Um, so I don't know. I don't truly have an answer. Bass fishing was more fun to me, not for the food, and hunting
Yeah.
was more for the food to me. So maybe that's why I kind of lean more towards hunting than fishing. But I've done both, you know.
I think maybe a lot of that has to do with what other fish are available in your area too.
Yeah.
Like here we think like around where I fish at, it's crappie, bluegill, and bass. You
Hmm.
don't really tell a whole big difference once you fry them up. But like I would say, a carp is more of a, I'll put this in quotes, like a trash fish. But maybe like
Hmm.
if you lived on the ocean and you had um, whatever it is that you eat out of the ocean, big, nice, fancy fish, maybe you'd be
Yeah.
more apt to throw a
I
bass
mean,
back because it's maybe
yeah,
less.
we caught a couple of really nice redfish, which I mean you can see on like Instagram and stuff. We've caught a really bunch of really nice redfish and red drum when we lived in Florida and stuff like that. But uh, really funny sidetrack. Like the first time my dad and I moved to Florida, uh, we caught a stingray, and
Huh.
we're in a bass boat, like a West Texas like 19-foot bass boat, and we're out in the bay. We had no business being there, and we're fishing. We catch, and it's fighting really hard to pull up, and it gets to the surface, and we catch a stingray. We're like looking around, like, what do we do with this thing? Like,
Yeah.
we're not from here. We don't know what to do with this. So,
What'd you do with it?
uh, well, my dad and I were both honestly like scared of it because we didn't know anything about salt water. So
Cut the line.
we just got as close to his mouth, and we were like trying to get the hook out, but it started like throwing its
Yeah.
tail around, and we didn't want to mess with that, so we just cut as close to his mouth as we could. Which I know that's probably not ethical, and some people may trash us for that, but that was our first experience saltwater fishing, and so
You might get Steve Irwin. Isn't that what happened to Steve Irwin? Didn't he get whacked by a
so like I said, because of you, we were talking before. Because of you, we made American Country Outdoors made a TikTok, and my wife and I on our honeymoon went swimming in Turks and Caicos, and we were swimming over uh, stingrays, and that's like the first thing I said. I was like, "Cover my heart. I don't want to get Steve Irwin."
yeah, yeah, that's I mean, it makes sense being kind of maybe scared's not the right word, but not really knowing how to handle something like that when
Hmm.
you don't grow up around it. Because I would be the same way. I have no idea. Can those things swim super fast and get me? Can they bite
Yeah.
me? I really, you got to be kind of cautious. Um, so so living in Texas, can you kind of talk about the variety of opportunities
Mhm.
there is kind of to hunt in the state, and maybe some of the most popular things that people hunt down in Texas?
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying I I am I know we'll probably cover this later, but I'm a disabled veteran, so I actually get free license.
Hmm.
But for in-state, I believe it's only $25 for an in-state license, which comes with 4 deer tags, a couple turkey tags, and 2 mule deer tags. And for out of state, you get all of that for only $300. Now, with that being said, you can also put in for our public land hunts. There's a couple of them that are walk-in public land exotics covering axis, aoudad, stuff like that for $40. So you can come here and hunt axis deer, aoudad deer, all of that for $340 as an out-of-stater on public land. And then that's just over-the-counter hunts. We have draw hunts as well, but those are only $3. $3 to put in for. So
Wow.
you buy your license, put in for your hunts, and if you don't get drawn, you do get bonus points. And most of them are only 2 to 3 bonus points to get a tag, whether you're in state or out of state. So, I mean, for pretty fair price, you can hunt all types of wildlife. And we do have public land. I would say it's limited, but I only say that because coming from Arizona, where every direction you look is public land. Um, so yeah, you can hunt here for a pretty fair price, honestly, and hunt exotics, whitetail, mule deer, you name it, hogs. I actually got some access to hunt hogs for pretty much free. I just have to fill the guy's corn feeder every 3 weeks, and I get to hunt hogs on his property for free. And then come turkey season, he said if I see a turkey, I can take one as well.
That doesn't sound like too bad of a deal.
No, not at all, not at all. And I met him. I met him on Facebook, man. I hate social media, but at the same time, you can't hate it because I mean, it put us in touch, put me and
Yeah.
that guy in touch. So many connections out there on social media.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say they hate social media, and I years ago used to be that way. I hate
Hmm.
social media, not going to be on anything, but I think it kind of boils down to how you use it. If you use it in
Yep.
a negative way, if you use it in a positive way. So we're using it kind of to reach out and share this hunting stuff with each other and meet each other, and
Yeah, definitely.
seems to be working out okay for now. Um, so I guess let's pretend I'm going to come to Texas, and I just met you on the street. I don't know you
Hmm.
anything. You're not going to do
Yep.
me any favors. And I say I'm going to come down to Texas, but I only have a few days to hunt. I want to make sure I come home with something. What would you recommend maybe that I go after so I can kind of be successful? What would be something easy to come down there and fill a tag on?
I mean, you can kill a whitetail doe uh, anywhere, pretty much. Public land, you could probably knock on some doors and get some access pretty quickly. They're everywhere. My mom just drove out to see us, and she hit a white-tailed doe in her rental car yesterday. So I mean, they're just everywhere. It is ridiculous, but I mean, if you get on social media, there's tons of Facebook groups and stuff like that, and you just start contacting people or just reach out and be real. This is what I hope to accomplish. People are for the most part pretty nice in the hunting community, right? Like we do have some bad seeds, just like a motorcycle group. Like they get a bad
Uh-huh.
rap because of 1 or 2 bad dudes. Like it's the same thing. The hunting community is good for the most part, and someone's going to help you. Someone's going to reach out. I try to reach out to people and help them if they post. But a white-tailed deer doe is very easy to get. And then next, I would say a decent whitetail buck. And if you can get it on private, I mean, depending on where you're at, you're in the money for some axis deer even. Hunting for you don't even need tags for axis. You just need a license. as many as you can kill, you can take home, and they are good eating.
Really?
Yep.
So I've never been to Texas, but I've heard a lot about Texas being very lots of private land, not a whole lot
Hmm.
of public.
Yep.
Is there very much public, or am I misinformed? And
No,
is it pretty packed when you go on it, or I imagine it's probably not like Arizona where it's a little more vast.
so there are a couple of good units that I know of in Texas where if you have a kayak or a boat, you are going to be pretty alone out there, and it's going to be good hunting. Uh, there's not tons of public land. There is some. Don't get me wrong. There's lots of dove leases where you can hunt dove on public land. There's a couple of duck leases where you can hunt duck on public land, and then there is some walk in public land long as you buy your public permit. But there's a lot of draw hunts on public land as well. So there's probably, I would say, 80% private, 20% public. I mean, it's really hard to say coming from Arizona, where just almost everything is public. I mean, even ranchers' land, where they lease the land, you still have access to it. You're seeing ranchers' cattle out there, and you're hunting
Hmm.
public land, but they're leasing the land for their cattle, but you also
Right.
have permission to hunt it. So it's just way different. And where I shot my buck this year was that type of land where you just go on this rancher's farm and he's leasing the land, but it's public land. So it's hard to say coming from Arizona right now.
So let's pretend that I'm going to make a list
Mhm.
of all the states. Number one being the best public land state, and then last in line being the worst public land state. Where do you think Texas would kind of land? Are we more towards the bottom, or are we top or middle?
No, I'm saying middle to bottom.
Yeah,
I mean, I know, Arizona, Colorado, I'm pretty sure Utah, those are really, really big public land states. And then Texas, Texas is a lot of private, man.
yeah.
And they say you can knock on doors, but at the same time, you can get shot for going onto someone's property. So it's kind of scary to go knock on someone's door
Kind
in
of
Texas.
kind of just the luck of the draw if you knock on the right door or not. Probably catch them at the
Yeah.
right time and all
Yep.
that.
And I
Um,
use Onyx, so uh, I'm on there heavy, looking at people all around me all the time.
Yeah, I'm an Onyx user as well. I'm a big
Hmm.
fan of Onyx. Been using it for a few years now. So like I said, I've never been to Texas, but I've heard stories about Texas. Um, I know there's a lot of high fence stuff
Yep.
going on there and some weird exotic animals. Um, what's the weirdest animal, I guess, that you would say that you've seen down there? Or have you been around very much of that kind of stuff? I think you told me you
Hmm.
don't high fence hunt or anything, but I
Correct.
thought maybe you drove by doing some scouting and you look out there and I don't know, there's a cheetah or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I do know. I do not hunt those high fence ranches. I mean, if I got an invite for free, yeah, you're darn skippy. I'm going to be out there and I'm going to shoot something. But uh, there has been not cheetahs. Now you trip me up saying cheetahs. There's been zebras and giraffes definitely taken on these high fence ranches. What I've personally seen is elk, red stag, fallow deer, and that's just from driving past these ranches. You can see them along the fence lines. They're staying out of the center of the land because that's where they're hunted, and they know that. But yeah, there's tons of high fence hunting opportunities, and that's, in my personal opinion, not hunting. And I'm sorry if I offend someone, but That's where doctors and lawyers go when they want to impress their friends, and most of them don't even keep the meat.
Yeah.
I know an outfitter very personally who owns and runs one of those ranches, and he said 90% of the time they get a really big tip, and then they get the meat in return. And when the next hunter comes out, they're getting the last hunter's meat on their dinner plate for
Hmm.
their included meals. Um, because
Interesting.
yep, exactly. And they just want that trophy, man. And they pay $20,000, $30,000 for a whitetail deer. That's not counting elk or something extremely nice or exotic.
Yeah, I just I've always been I don't know if intrigue's the right word, but
Hmm.
I've always just been kind of kind of thought about some of the wild animals, like exotic animals that are there, and maybe like if I just imagine myself like, say I just moved down to Texas and I got an apartment, and I don't know, maybe 10 miles away, there's some high fence operation going on. Next thing I know, a giraffe escapes, and it's like looking through my window in my apartment or something. I don't know. It's a really crazy concept, I think, when you don't like grow up or live around stuff
Hmm.
like that. Um, I've never seen a giraffe other than at the zoo, so
Yeah.
can imagine like seeing one out and somebody's, I mean, how do you even build a fence to keep a giraffe in?
So I mean, they can't jump. At least I don't think they can jump.
Yeah.
I'm not a zoologist, but they definitely have high fences out here. But like that's where the axis deer and all that came from.
Hmm.
My family has very, very minimal acreage, like 13, 14 acres. My grandparents bought it as like a retirement thing, and they've let me hunt it in the past, but they're 50-50 iffy if I get to hunt it or not every year. Especially my grandpa's pretty sick right now. Um, so it's iffy if we get out there, but we've had tons of axis in the recent years. And before we would hear them in the distance, uh, and it sounds like a child screaming. Honestly, that's what an axis deer sounds like.
Huh.
But now we're starting to get so many axis, and they're herd animals, and they come in so thick in the herds, and they just eat all the protein, all the corn, all the vegetation, and they're pushing our whitetail out. I mean, for a few years, we are getting some really nice whitetail out there. Well, what I consider, really nice for that area, 140s, 150s, which is nice for that area, which I know there's 200-inch bucks out there, but for that area, that's a really nice deer. And now we're seeing back in the 90s and the hundreds, and sometimes not even that. Just because of all the access, man. And you can spotlight them at night. It's pretty much lawless on those deer, and you can kill them year round too.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's that'd be good if you're like me and you eat venison or
Oh,
deer meat all
absolutely.
year round. You kind of get low in the summertime. You might go out and spotlight an
Yep.
axis. That's crazy to me because around here, you're not allowed to spotlight. Um, Actually, in Kentucky, you're not even allowed to spotlight to look at deer. I live in Indiana, but I hunt both. Indiana, you can spotlight, but obviously you can't shoot
Yep.
whitetails or anything at nighttime with a spotlight. That's highly so. That is interesting.
Yeah. You
So
can't do that with whitetails, but
yeah.
you can do it with axis or like coyotes, stuff like that.
So I know you said you served in the military. What branch did you serve in? And did you kind of have any real reasons for joining? I know this is kind of not really hunting related,
Yeah. Yeah.
more personal, but we're gonna go somewhere with this. So I just
Okay.
wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I joined in 2013. I served 7 years and 3 months active duty, and then an additional like 9 or 10 months in the reserves after that, just to finish out my 8 years and 1 month mark. But I joined just because I was in college right out of high school. Wasn't really my thing. Typical story. Uh, didn't like really get into trouble, but I was on the borderline of trouble, and hometown, same old, same old. Uh, so a buddy and I were just like, "Yo, let's join the Air Force and be pilots." We didn't know that you had to have a degree to be a pilot, so we went to go sign up, and he kind of great guy, but he chickened out. He ended up joining like 3 years later, but he chickened out. And I was like, no, I'm signing it. And the recruiter's like, oh, like take it home to your dad, look it over. I was like, no, I'm signing the paperwork. I signed it that day, went home, quit my job, told my dad I joined the military. He laughed at me. And I was like, okay, well, when I leave in 3 weeks, you'll see. And about a week later, he's like, why aren't you at work? I was like, I quit. I joined the military. He's like, oh, you're not joking. I was like, nope, not joking. So I didn't really have a true reason, to be honest with you, but it was probably one of the better decisions I've made in my life.
So, just from talking to you a little bit on Go Wild, and we're texting back and forth quite a
Yep.
bit. You told me that you did a couple of deployments,
Mhm.
and you told me you also rifle hunted mostly, but you decided to pick up a bow. I think after you came home after your first or second deployment.
Mhm.
What made you kind of make that jump? Is that something in some downtime you're reading some magazines, or did you have another guy or something that was with you, or is that something you just picked up when you came home? You didn't even think about it when you're deployed?
Yeah, so I wasn't. I was kind of thinking about it. I was always a hunter, so I was kind of thinking about it when I was deployed, and we were talking about. We were all from the same base when we deployed. It was our first deployment, and we were talking about like what tags we were putting in for and all this, and the draw, because it's a draw state in Arizona, except for archery is over the counter. And I wanted more opportunity to hunt. And I had a bow as a kid, but I never hunted with it. I would just like shoot the back fence and stuff like that with filled points. And so we got home and I shot a buddy's bow, and his was set to 70 pounds. And I was lifting in the military, but like that was muscles I had never used before. So I
Hmm.
tried to pull it back and I couldn't pull it back. So another buddy had a 50-pound bow, a draw weight, 50 pounds. So an old PSC, I started drawing it back in the garage, which I had no arrows for it, nothing like that. He didn't care about the bow. So if I did accidentally dry fire it, no big deal. But I was just doing it kind of to get my strength up and stuff like that. And then uh, got a bow and started shooting, was pretty accurate with it, went straight out after that. Really, it was just to get more hunting opportunities because in Arizona, you can hunt January, August, and December off of one $45 tag uh, with an archery tag. So they have early, mid, and late season archery. But if you kill one buck, it's a $1 state, no does. If you kill it with a bow, you can't hunt with a rifle. If you kill it with a rifle, you can't hunt with a bow. So since I did kill in January this year, I can't hunt in the state of Arizona until next January. Uh, so that does kind of stink, but yeah, I mean that's just more outdoors, more opportunity, and that's what truly got me into archery. And like I said, after killing those does with my rifle, I just it just seemed too easy. It seemed like I was just shooting monkeys in a barrel type deal.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot. A lot of people graduate to archery because, not that it's too easy. It's obviously it's always kind of hard. You always kind of play that game because wild
Hmm.
animals do what they want. But a lot of people
Exactly.
say that they graduate to archery just more of the challenge. So is there a lot of people that hunt in the military? Is that something that comes up when you're hanging out or you're at work?
Hmm.
Is it kind of like it
Yeah.
is here, like kind of where I'm at? It's like you're the new guy at work. They're like, "What do you enjoy?" "Oh, I like hunting and stuff like that." Is that
Hmm.
conversations you guys have, or is it strictly the military stuff?
So the military is all walks of life, uh, genders, races, places. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are. Everyone in the military is uh, really family, and so you get all types of walks of life. But yeah, we we have a lot of hunters, and whether they're waterfowl or archery or rifle, well, you meet a lot of people and they do different things, and that's kind of where American Country Outdoors came from. Me and a buddy, actually, I worked with his wife, and we met, and they she introduced us, and we went dove hunting, and we probably shot a full box of shells and didn't come home with anything, but we were just having a good we were really just having a good time. And that's kind of where American Country Outdoors came from. We just were hunting all the time and wanted to document it. And now we build websites for outdoorsmen. And we're going to be offering recordings for people here pretty soon. I mean, it's up there that we do, but we've just kind of been busy, both of us having kids right now. But anyways, back to the question. I got a little sidetracked there. Yeah,
it's all good.
You meet tons of different people in the military, and I met one guy who we are best hunting buds. Never talk all year. Hunting season rolls around, we're texting every day. We're hunting together every day. We're out in the woods together. My wife's like, you don't even know this guy. Why are you going out with him? Like, won't he kill you? I'm like, probably not. I mean, but then hunting season rolls around, and yeah, like I said, we're just best friends. And then hunting season goes away, and we don't text, don't talk. And then the draw is getting ready, and we start asking each other once again, like, what the draw is and what we're putting in for. And he's in the military, and I mean, he's hunted some. I know I've already seen the question, so I know this is coming up. But he's hunted some crazy places and got to kill some awesome things, and Afghanistan and Kuwait and not Dubai, Djibouti in Africa. So pretty crazy, man.
So you have been on a couple deployments. Where
Yep.
exactly did you deploy to?
Yeah, so I deployed to 2 different locations in Kuwait on my first deployment, and then on my second deployment, I deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan, which is now closed down.
Okay, so I've got to imagine they, unless it's all been wiped out by bombs, I don't really know, but I've got to imagine that they have some animals over there. Do you ever see
Yep.
anything? Some wild, crazy animals?
Mhm.
Maybe they have like Bigfoot over there. I don't know. I've never been to Afghanistan, so
Yeah.
And did you ever get a chance to hunt or shoot any animals over there?
Yeah, so the individual, and I'd really like to give him a shout out, but he's still in the military, so I don't want to say his name and get him in trouble for some of the things that we did. He was allowed.
Let's just call him Joe. We'll call him
Joe. So Joe, he was wing safety. So for our aircrafts and stuff, he had to make sure the runway was clear. So he was given guns to kill birds that were in front of planes because they didn't want a bird to go in an engine, down a plane, kill a pilot, right? Like, what's more important? Multi-million-dollar aircraft and a human's life, or a bird? So as well as wild dogs and stuff like that, which here people call them pets. They're actually wild and have rabies and all this types of stuff. So he got to do a lot of hunting of those critters, and we were already friends. So he invited me out to do that, so we would get to like drive down the runway and out of a vehicle shoot animals with a shotgun, like while driving down an aircraft on runway. And we killed dogs, birds of all types. And we worked with a wildlife biologist. So he took samples of all of this. It wasn't just out here slaughtering stuff. It was for safety reasons. And they took biology samples and sent them back to America to get tested to see what types of animals were in the area. But yeah, now he's in Africa currently doing the same thing, just killing. He's sending me pictures all the time, and it's just the most ridiculous stuff, man. We weren't suggested to eat anything we killed at all, just because of the environment and the health issues and the health concerns. But there was tons of wildlife out there, and not everyone's allowed to get to do that. So I was blessed in the opportunity of knowing someone, and they got me in to be able to still hunt when I was gone for 7-8 months,
So is that something that you maybe have like an off day or a downtime and he's working, he's like, "Man, you want to come with me?" and you just go, or is there like a bunch of strings that have to be
So
pulled? Is it kind of like under the radar, nobody really knows, can't really
yeah,
say?
yeah. So it was more of like under the radar. Can't really say, and that's why we're calling him Joe. I don't want to get him in any trouble. He was allowed to be doing it. Uh, I might not. I'm out now, so they can't do anything to me. Well, I hope they can't. But um, yeah, no, I did it on my off day. We only got one day off when deployed. We work 6, 12 to 14, 15-hour shifts a day when we're deployed. So my one day off, I would typically go do that with him. Sometimes during work, if we were slow, one of my good buddies would watch the shop for me while I would go do that with him. Um, but no, it was always a good time, and we would just pull up and either have an air rifle or a shotgun, depending on where we were, or if we were around aircraft, you couldn't shoot certain calibers. And we would just call into the security office and be like, "Hey, we're going to be shooting guns in this sector. So if you hear gunfire, don't be alarmed. Don't sound any alarms. It's just us." And yeah, it is truly for the safety of the aircrafts and the personnel on base. But we're hunters and we're outdoorsmen, so we were having a good old time doing it.
So you were active duty, so I imagine that you
Hmm.
lived on a military base at one point for extended
Yep.
periods of time. Um, are you allowed to hunt on a military base? And is that something that you have to be in the military to do, or can civilians come on base and hunt? And do you have to have, this is kind of a three-part question, but
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
have to
yeah,
have tags as well? I know it's still it's still probably state regulations. I'm not really sure
yeah.
being a
Hmm.
military base. So can you kind of explain those three things?
Yeah, so we'll cover Arizona because I do not know every state's regulations, and just because I was in the military doesn't mean I know Kentucky's rules on being on base and shooting wildlife. But in the state of Arizona, you can put in specifically for a tag on Fort Huachuca, which is a southern Arizona hunt, and they're considered their own unit. Arizona's broke down into units. Um, and you could put in for that hunt specifically. I truly do not know if you're required to be military because it shows up for everyone, that hunt opportunity. I just don't know if it would allow them to put in if they weren't military. Because we also have like Indian reservations and stuff like that, and they can allow a certain amount of non-res reservation hunters to go on, and they can pay to hunt the reservation, stuff like that. So uh, there's a lot of gray area there, to be honest with you. I know there are good deer, better deer on those bases and stuff, just because it's limited hunt opportunities. So they have nice deer. We'll say that, nice
Yeah.
deer, and I never personally had the opportunity of getting drawn for that unit. Um, but at the same time, all the draw hunts were rifle, like I was saying, and I was just truly in love with archery. So that was my primary goal, was to tag out in archery and not need to use my rifle.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing about military bases holding really nice bucks. And
Yep.
I live in Indiana, southern Indiana. I'm about 30 minutes from Illinois and about 20 minutes from Kentucky. But Indiana is a one buck state,
Hmm.
but you can actually kill 3 bucks in Indiana if you play your cards right. So we have a regular
Huh.
state buck, which is what generally everybody is going to kill 1 buck throughout the state. You're going to be done. Doe tags are going to go off of each county. And then we have something called reduction zones, which in Evansville, which is, I believe, the second biggest city in Indiana, we have a reduction zone. And I think around like Indianapolis, they have this. And in a reduction zone, they're trying to kind of kill down the population of deer.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you kill a doe in that reduction zone, it's a separate tag. You buy a reduction zone tag and you can kill a doe, and then you buy another reduction zone tag, and then depending on what the kind of the quota is, you can either kill that amount of does, whatever the quota is, or you can kill a buck. But you have to
Yeah.
kill a doe before you kill your buck. But it's totally separate. So
Hmm.
if you were going to do that reduction zone, you could now be at 2 bucks. But they also have military base hunts, which are draw hunts that you can put in for, and those are also separate and they don't
Huh.
count. So you have to be
Yeah.
lucky enough to draw one of those tags. I've been kind of talking about putting in for that for a while now, and
Yeah, you should. You should.
for some reason I haven't, but I think this year I'm going to. Some of the bases are a couple hours from me, but I
Hmm.
think if I could get drawn for that, I think I'd be down because I'm sure there's nice
Yeah.
bucks. I always see pictures of people killing. Everybody that goes up there seems like they kill a pretty
Yeah.
decent
Yeah. Yeah.
deer. So
Well, I mean,
I'm gonna give it a
we
shot.
talked. Yeah, definitely. We talked about. I'm going to Illinois. Definitely next year and stuff like that. And you kind of talked about recording me. So if you get drawn for one of those, I'll definitely come out and I'll record you, man. Put no pressure of recording on you and let you kill a nice deer. But yeah, no, you should definitely put in for those all the hunting opportunities because I mean in Arizona, it's now a mandatory report state if you kill with archery. And I do know some people who probably would kill with a bow and turn around and still put in for rifle, but that is actually illegal in the state of Arizona. If you kill a deer, you're not allowed to, even put in for a bonus point. You're not allowed to put in for a rifle tag, nothing like that along those lines. Um, However, like I do have previous bonus points where I haven't killed and I put in, so I still hold on to those. But where I have killed with a bow, I just don't put in for rifle that year. So,
Yeah,
uh,
it can get real confusing when
yep.
you start playing with reduction zones and military bases in
Hmm.
different states. You got to really be. Thankfully, we have smartphones now where we can pretty much pull
Yeah.
up the regulations because just between Indiana and Kentucky, like I pretty much know Indiana's laws and everything by heart.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
when I started hunting Kentucky a few years ago, I'm like, man, I got to keep up with this. I got to keep up with the tags. So I start putting all the tags in my phone and marking down where I see deer because
Yeah.
after a while, man, it gets wild and you kind of forget.
Yeah, no,
You
you
got to make
definitely
sure you
do,
keep
man.
track of everything and make sure you're using the right tags in the right state and everything else. Um,
Yeah. Especially
so
hunting so many states.
yeah, so Javelina, I don't really know a
Yeah.
whole lot about hunting javelina. Um, I've heard the term and I know what they like look like or whatever, but I've never
Mhm.
seen one. I've never eaten one or anything. Can you kind of talk about what you know about javelina? How do you
Yeah.
hunt those, and are they any good to eat? What do they taste like?
So, yeah, I've killed a couple of javelina with a bow. You can kill two a year in the state of Arizona. You can get an over-the-counter tag. You can also put in for draws. Uh, everyone calls them pigs, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they're actually the world's largest rodent. They're a rodent. Um, Everyone just calls them stink pigs, pig tags, like all this, especially in Arizona. Uh, we just call them participation trophies. And I hate to say that for people that, struggle hunting them, stuff like that. And I'm not trying to sound cocky because they've given me the slip. I've missed stuff like that. But that's just what the hunter population in Arizona calls them, or participation trophies. But they smell. Typically, before you see them, if you're in their zone area, whatever you want to call it, you're going to smell them first.
Huh.
But it's the same thing, spot and stock. And they have a scent gland on their mid to lower back. And if you're cleaning them, I'm not grossed out by cleaning an animal. I'll gut it, whatever you want to say. Put the blood on your face, the rituals, all that. But a javelina, you want to wear gloves. And what you want to do is skin it out, get all the skin off, throw it away, take your gloves off, throw those gloves away. You do not want to touch the skin and then touch the meat with those gloves if you do plan to eat it. I know a lot of people donate javelina meat to homeless shelters and stuff along those lines because they enjoy hunting them, and people do eat them. I've tried it. I personally don't love it. And that's also why I quit hunting them and why I didn't get a tag this year. They're fun to hunt, but not good eating. And I guess you could call them a nuisance. They're not like coyotes where you go shoot them, donate the fur, or give the fur to a fur buyer, whatever you want to call it. I just feel bad, shooting one and leaving one. That's not how I was raised, stuff like that. So donate the meat, however you want to do it. But yeah, they smell. So you want to cut the hide off, throw your gloves away, even possibly put a new pair of gloves on. You just don't want to cross-contaminate that smell to the meat. It's like an old, nasty, ruddy buck. And if you get that, piss gland, urine gland, whatever you want to call it, on that meat, you're gonna taste it and you're gonna smell it when you're cooking it, stuff like that. I don't care how much fat you add, it's there. And at least I don't know how to get rid of that scent personally. If someone does, please contact me and let me know. But yeah, it's just they're fun to hunt, and they're tough little animals. But yeah, I'm done hunting them personally.
How big is a javelina? Is it like a
40, 50 pounds?
Okay.
Small type pig, and they have like coarse hair, almost like a grill brush, like real coarse hair. And they have big old, like, not tusks, but almost like a fang, I guess. I don't even know what you would call what they have. It's not tusks coming out, but they have big old teeth, and they just smell to high heavens. Like I said, they eat trash. They do. They get in people's garbage cans. They eat trash, stuff like that in the city. So
what would you compare the meat to? Is it greasy, kind of similar, like fatty to pork, or is it just kind of like
I cannot compare the meat. I've killed bobcats. I've eaten bobcat, which some people may think is crazy, but if you have the opportunity, try a bobcat, and I promise you'll never throw another piece of bobcat meat away. It is delicious. I've seen mountain lions, but I've never killed a mountain lion. I've had mountain lion meat, delicious. But just javelina is not comparable, man. People wouldn't think to eat bobcat or mountain lion, and it's delicious, and javelina is not good. Personally,
Yeah.
maybe people do know how to season it. I don't, and I wouldn't eat it.
So anybody listening hunting javelina, maybe try to cook it, but it sounds like you should maybe steer away from that.
Yeah, or contact either Adam and I and let us know how to cook it, and
Yeah.
we'll put in for a tag and go back to Arizona and shoot one. But I know where they're at. I know where to hunt them. I know where to kill them every time. But
So you spent a lot of time in Arizona. Is it
Yep.
pretty plausible for an out of state guy to come out there and fill a tag in about a week or so? Pretty
Yeah,
good
I
public
mean,
land access.
yeah. So I did live out there for 8 years, so I do know the territory. I know the land. I've killed out there a couple times. I went out there with 4 days to hunt, and I killed, as you saw. You saw the pictures. I mean, once in a lifetime buck. I killed a slammer. So it is possible, man. You just have to do your Onyx, get on your Onyx, do your scouting, or if you can get out there in person, do your scouting. But it's possible. $300 for an out of state tag over the counter. I believe that includes your license. I could be wrong. I'm gonna be paying this out of state fee starting next year. I was still considered a resident there because I owned a house there, and it's now up for sale. So I guess I'll find out next January when I go. But I think it's $300 for you to get a tag and go, but it is very possible. I've had friends come out from Florida and hunt hard and not kill, but have lots of opportunities. But they were also picky. They wanted big mule deer. But if they were going for forks or 3-bys, they could have easily killed, But they wanted that big mainframe 4x4, so
Yeah,
a little tougher.
280 or $300 or whatever it is doesn't sound too crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know Kentucky, you have to buy a hunting license and a deer tag, and you get 3 does
Yep.
and 1 buck in Kentucky. And of course, I buy out of state, and it's right around $300. And I believe deer tags, kind of the same thing. Maybe just a doe and a buck, or maybe it's just a buck
Yep.
tag in Illinois is about 500. So I haven't. I know a guy at work that has a private farm over there, but I haven't really bit the bullet on dropping that 500. But I may
Mm-hmm.
try to do that next year. But 280 or 300 is not bad. I
No,
thought it
no,
was going to be a lot more than
it's
that.
not. But it's a 1 deer state, and it's buck only. The only way to get a doe tag in the state of Arizona is if you're a youth hunter. I believe you have to be under 14. I only have a 10-month-old, so I don't know. I haven't put in, but I believe it's like you can't start putting in until 10, and then after 14, you can't get a doe tag. There's a very short window, limited opportunity in the state of Arizona to kill a doe. So yeah, it's a one animal state, and then you can put in for elk, stuff like that. There's lots of draw opportunities, pronghorn, which I have 9 bonus points for elk, so I'm hoping to get drawn this year for archery elk.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a pretty good entry for it this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. And it's my last year as a full blown resident, so I'm fingers crossed. 9 bonus points, and I've only been putting in for archery. So I'm hoping, man. One of my buddies has been drawn 5 times in the amount of time I've been putting in, and I've been drawn 0. So
Wow.
it is truly a lottery.
That sounds there's a dove hunt around here on public that they do a draw hunt for every year. Dove hunting around here is not super good, probably like
Mm.
anywhere else, unless they plant a bunch of sunflowers or whatever. But I put in for that one year, and it was a blast. I got drawn for it the first year I put in, but I've been putting in for it ever since, and haven't seemed to have been successful in it. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
those draws, you just never know. It's just
Yeah, no. I mean, that's another thing about Arizona, man. I wish I would have taken more opportunities than I did. Uh, you can just go anywhere on public land and start shooting dove. I mean, year round, no extra permits, migratory bird for $5. So you pay
yeah.
$5 and you can kill bird, but no extra permits, anything like that, and you can just go kill dove and quail and anything on private land or on public land. And I did it, and the wife loves dove tacos. She asked me, she's like, "So when's next dove season?" Because I'd make her like dove tacos with cream cheese and bacon and jalapenos, super good. And she's like, "Oh, you can go dove hunting," and I'd be like, "Oh, it's deer season." She's like, "Oh, you don't need to go." I'm like, "Yes, I do."
That's
But
interesting that you say your wife likes wild game and stuff like that. My wife does too. We mostly eat deer meat. We don't really buy anything from the store.
yeah,
But I do hear a lot of guys, their wives kind of turn their nose up to it. So
hmm
it's nice to hear that somebody else's wife enjoys that, because a lot of women, maybe that's husbands or boyfriends hunt, always seems like they're, "Ooh, that's gross. You're not bringing that in the house,
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
cooking
yeah.
that." So, yeah, it's good to hear. So you hunt a lot of public land, kind of traveled a little bit, been all
hmm
over. Can you think of any crazy or wild stories, maybe stuff you've seen on public land, or anything crazy you've ever experienced? You ever been shot at or ran off, or I don't know, fell off the side of a mountain? Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anything crazy?
So I'll tell 2 quick stories. It's now illegal in the state of Arizona to run trail cameras if you're going to hunt in that unit. So you can't put a trail camera up if you intend to hunt in that unit at all, period. So used to, though, before, when you could run trail cameras, I had a trail camera in the unit where I killed my buck this year, and I was going to check the trail camera, and I get there, and it's tall grass. I kneel down, and I have a SD reader with me, so I was checking my trail camera, and I see a mountain lion on my trail camera. I was like, dang, that's awesome. I checked the timestamp, 3 minutes before I was there.
Whew.
So, you hear like mountain lion attacks and all this, and so I kind of like stand up. I start looking around, kind of scared. I'm like, can this thing smell me? Is it going to kill me? Which people may laugh at, but this was before I really knew about mountain lions or anything, and before I had seen one and glassed one up. So, so that was probably experience number 1. Just threw my camera back up. I was walking out, and I actually shot my first bobcat that same day, walking out of that area where my trail camera was. And I shot it with a Glock 45. Shot it with my pistol. It just ran right in front of me, stopped, looked at me, gave me enough time to pull my handgun out of my holster and shoot it. But so that was probably number 1. Pretty crazy. Number 2, I would say, in public land, it's not yours and it's not mine. I mean, I guess it is all of ours, but at the same time, like, people hunt right on top of each other, especially if they've heard about a spot being good. And that's why a lot of people don't talk about their units or where they hunt, just because it'll get blown up. Tons of people will be there, and it just gets crowded, and people have no respect. You might show up an hour before sunup, and then there's people walking in or riding in on razors and 4-wheelers 30 minutes after the sun's up, and you're sitting there glassing. You look at them, they don't care. They look at you, and that was my first signal to just say, either I'm not deep enough or I'm not shallow enough, because tons of people think they need to go in like a mile or 2 miles. There's tons of overlooked areas that are right off the roads. I mean, not road hunting, but pulling off the road, just hiking up to the first ridge and glassing. And tons of people pass that because they think they need to go a little deeper, but then they never go deep enough. They don't want to commit to truly putting the miles on their boots. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I forgot what the question was now.
No. The craziest thing that you've seen on public land.
Yeah. So just people hunting on top of you, and probably that mountain lion with like a 3-minute timestamp from crossing its path. And then I've seen a couple in person, and I cracked a shot at one, but it was not confirmed if I hit it or missed it. And so yeah, we've seen a couple of mountain lions in person, but that was the first time I had ever seen one on camera before I had seen one in person. And so I was like, I was pretty worked up, pretty nervous.
Yeah, I hear about mountain lion attacks, but if I'm correct, it's actually pretty rare, or there's not very many people that get killed or mauled by mountain lions. I think it's pretty hyped up. Not to say that it won't happen if one's on your trail camera 3 minutes before you get to it, but I wouldn't want to risk it. But that's crazy stuff. I imagine that would get my blood pumping too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I actually checked a trail camera this year and was walking in and shot 2 does on my way to my stand when I got shot both does, made my way to my stand, and I was going to go ahead and pull the card. I pulled the card and got home, and I realized that there was a very, very nice buck there right when I shot the does, right over the overside of the ridge.
Dang.
And I was kind of tore up about it for a couple weeks. And then I realized that I had that camera out there, and I had checked it a couple times, but it had been out. I put it out prior to time change. So, and it was actually an hour behind. So that deer was actually there an hour prior instead of there right when I shot the deer. But Yeah, it's funny when you experience crazy stuff like that, or you shoot a deer and realize there was a deer in front of your camera, or you check it and there's a mountain lion maybe up on the ridge prowling down at you.
Yeah,
So
no, definitely.
so this year you shot a very, very nice buck.
Hmm.
I wanna have you tell the story in pretty good detail,
Yeah.
kind of how your travel went, how you packed up and went to Arizona. Maybe you were already there. I don't know. I I saw it come across Go Wild, and we had been talking
Hmm.
prior to you shooting this buck, and I've been waiting now 3 or 4 weeks to hear this story
Yeah.
because I refused to read it on Go Wild because I wanted to hear the story in person. So I'm gonna let you tell the story
All
about
right.
this monster mule deer that you killed.
Yeah. So I had just gotten a new bow, and I've been a Hoyt homer, right? I've been brand specific, die hard Hoyt, uh, and I went and entered a giveaway at a bow store and all this for a Matthews, and I shot a Matthews a few times, and I was like, man, I really want this, and fell in love with it and all that. Well, fate lined up, and I got a Matthews. I got a V3, and I bought a bunch of accessories for it, and fell in love with it. Started shooting it. Hadn't killed anything with it yet, and moved to Arizona or to Texas from Arizona right after that. Started getting a sight in, and I got a black gold drop away sight with a 5-pin slider. So, it's like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 yards, and then it drops down. And like I'm accurate out to like 110 yards, which I would never shoot a deer at 110 yards with a bow.
That's a far shot.
Um, yeah, but I practice out to that. I practice out to 90, 100, 110 because 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, which I'm very, very comfortable at 60 yards. I mean, I can hit a golf ball at 60 yards with a bow. So I'm very comfortable at that range. Some people may knock that. They just don't hunt out west then. That's all I can say to you because there's people shooting 100-yard bombs at deer and killing them. So I shoot, 60 yards and I'm comfortable, but I practice out to 100, 110. So I'm comfortable at those 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 yards like it's nothing. So I'm practicing, getting ready, and I pack up my truck. It's a Thursday. I don't have the date in front of me. I believe it is Thursday, January. Hold on. Thursday, January 13th. I pack up my truck, get loaded up, and I leave first thing in the morning, Friday, the 14th, and I couldn't sleep. I left at like 1:30, 2 a.m. So I get out there and probably could have hunted that afternoon, but I stopped. I already had my license, so I stopped to get my over-the-counter tag for 2022, and I head to my buddy's house, meet him at his parents', and he's like, I just got, mind you, I just drove 14 hours. And I've been up since 1 in the morning. He's like, hey, do you want to help me rebuild the carb on my four-wheeler? I was like, yeah, man, like, let's rebuild this carb on your four-wheeler. We'll use the four-wheeler for the hunt, right? Like, we don't have to drive our trucks.
You're thinking, no, not really.
And so, he pours us up a whiskey and ginger ale, and his parents, they haven't seen me in a while, and we've been good friends. We used to play bingo together. So they buy us some pizza. We drink a whiskey ginger ale, start tearing apart his quad, putting together his quad, figure out we need another part. So it's probably like 10, 11 o'clock, and we're like, all right, we're going to bed. We're hunting in the morning, right? The plan for the trip was to hunt Saturday the 15th, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I'm leaving Wednesday. So we're talking what? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're talking 4 days to hunt. So go to bed. We get out there. First morning, we're driving in, and we see a decent 3x2. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't have that many days to hunt. I'm killing this buck. So I get out of the truck. He arranges it. He's like, it's 90 yards. I was like, all right. He's like, just shoot it. And I'm like, no, I don't feel comfortable, which I know people can make that shot. I know tons of people that can make that shot. I know he can make that shot. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. So I get within 72 yards of this deer, stalked in on him, ranged him, and I probably could have shot him. I drew back on him, and I probably could have shot him. And he starts walking away, and I know people might laugh or whatever. People have been hunting for years. Mistakes happen. I released the arrow. Missed the buck by a mile. It was not on purpose. I went to go let down my bow, and I just released the arrow, and it went. And I didn't even tell my buddy this. My buddy doesn't even know this still. He thinks I just missed the shot. I'm like, oh yeah, I missed the shot. Like, I was more embarrassed that I released an arrow on accident, because I have not done that since I've been shooting archery. I've not accidentally released an arrow, even in target practice.
Secret's coming out if he listens to the show.
Yeah, if he listens, I'm going to tell him too. But yeah, secret's coming out. I released it on accident. I went to go let down, and I hit the trigger, and I did release it on accident. I mean, I missed him by a mile. It wasn't even like a shot I was trying to take. And so I was already like flustered, mad at myself, and kicking myself for that whole situation. But so we get up on top of our glassing hill, we start glassing, and immediately, man, we're seeing bucks left and right. We probably saw 9 bucks that first day. I make a couple of good stalks. One of them I did get within like 30 yards, and a shot just wasn't there for me. And then we hunted all day, went into town to the gas station, grabbed a little bit of lunch, went back out. We again saw multiple bucks, and then sorry, let me back this up. Right when we got onto the glassing hill, I told him, I was like, my binoculars aren't focusing. And he's like, just get them into focus, glass. I'm like, dude, they're not working. My binoculars are not focusing. And the like nitrogen, the gases in my binoculars had leaked out at some point. They cracked. I don't know, which they're at Vortex right now. I'm supposed to be getting them back today, which I heard someone ring the doorbell when we were on this podcast. So I'm hoping that's my binos. Vortex, awesome warranty. They replaced them 100% free. But I'm like glassing with one eye closed out of my binos, and I'm luckily still spotting deer, and we're glassing. So after that, we went to his uncle's, and his uncle was awesome and lent me a set of his Vortex binos so I could hunt the rest of the week. And went back out the next day, and I mean, every single day we were seeing deer. We were making stalks, and he was awesome the entire trip. He was letting me stalk. The way we do it out there is when you spot it, you stalk it. So even deer that he was spotting, he was letting me stalk, just because he wanted to put in for rifle, and he knew he had August and he had December. He had multiple times to hunt, and he knew I had limited opportunities. So he was just letting me stalk everything, whether it was scraggly bucks or nice bucks. And I was truly going to take anything. And I know that's not how you kill big bucks. And I know there's true big buck hunters, but my freezer was getting low, plain and simple. And so I was willing to take anything, fork and better. And, of course I wanted the wall hanger, but, yeah, I had plenty of stalks. I hit a branch on one shot. I had a really nice shot, a really nice buck that I cut off in a wash, and the doe filtered through. I ranged the doe at 40 yards. The buck comes through, and I hit a branch, and it sent the arrow way high and way left. And, people don't talk about their misses. I guess some do, but most people don't talk about their misses. I'm going to be honest with you. I missed, plain and simple. I hit a branch, kicked my arrow high left. It happens. And if you say it doesn't happen to you, then either you don't hunt enough or you're a liar. One of the two.
We like to talk about misses here because we try to be transparent on this podcast. I mean,
absolutely.
This isn't it, like you said. If you hunt enough, you're gonna do multiple things. You're gonna miss at some point. You're gonna release or shoot by accident.
Yeah.
At some point,
I did both on that trip.
You're gonna shoot an animal and not find it because the blood trail stops at some point. And anybody that tells you They've been hunting a long time. That's never happened to you. They either hunt one time a year or
they lie.
or they lie. Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna put it out there. Either they're
Everybody
liars.
makes mistakes. Yeah, and that's how you learn.
Yep. I went a lot of years without wounding an animal. I went a lot of years, and then I turn around and it eats me to the core. I wounded 3 deer in 1 year.
Yeah.
And I mean, it eats me to the core to this day. And I shot one and I said, I'm not shooting another deer this year. It doesn't sit right with me. I'm not shooting another deer. Well, I went back out hunting and I said, unless it's like perfect range, I'm not going to do it. And I wasn't true to myself. A buck came in front of me. I did it again.
Yeah.
And good blood trail. I tracked it a long ways and I couldn't find it. And then I truly said, I'm not shooting another deer. And I went out with a buddy to hunt with him. And I told him, like, dude, I wounded a deer. I'm not hunting again. He's like, just bring your bow. He's like, you're going to be mad if you see something and you don't shoot it. And yeah, I'd never wounded a deer in my lifetime. And then I wounded 3 in 1 season. And it eats me to my core to this day. I mean, I lose sleep over it at night. I truly lose sleep over it at night. And one of them was a really nice buck. He lived. One of them we confirmed lived. 2 of them we never saw again. One of them we confirmed lived. We saw him a week later in January. And we confirmed he lived. But it still just eats me to my core, And like you said, either you're lying and if you say you make perfect shots every time, I just don't believe you.
Yeah, I mean, I was hunting a reduction zone, which so Kentucky archery season starts September 4th. Indiana archery. So Kentucky archery starts September 4th. Indiana starts October 1st, and then Indiana reduction zone starts September 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of dabbled a little bit in Kentucky a couple of weeks, and then that reduction zone came in, and I was kind of this year I was in a kind of a meat crisis. We're getting kind of low, and I'm like, I'm going to hunt this reduction zone. There's these does showing up. I want to shoot a doe so I can kill a second buck in Indiana. I wanted to kind of get that under my belt. Never shot 2 bucks in a year.
Yeah.
So I go out. It wasn't opening day because it had fallen during the week, but I went out the opening Saturday of this reduction zone. Took the crossbow, can shoot through leaves and stuff. Didn't take the compound. But I had a doe come in, perfect morning, nice and cool for being September. 20-yard shot the doe, made a perfect shot, what I thought. Still think I made a perfect shot.
Me too. Yep.
Full pass through. Waited the hour, 30 minutes, an hour, got down, found good blood. Track that thing for 4 or 5 hours, even called my wife down to help me, and just the blood ran out. And it happens even with a powerful crossbow with a gun. Man, that was a bad way to start archery season this year.
It hurts, dude.
Losing a deer.
Hurts.
And even with a doe, I still lose sleep over that stuff. I hate wounding an animal, and I'm sure it did die. It probably clogged up or something. Lost the blood. But let's get back to this buck. So you're out, you go get something to eat, whatever, you come back. Tell us the day that you shoot this buck. Tell us kind of run us what happens.
Real quick, on one of those that I wounded, my wife, shout out to my wife, she was 7 months pregnant. And I called her. She doesn't hate hunting, but she doesn't hunt. I called her to come help me track one of these deer that I made, like you said, a perfect shot on. And she came out pregnant, drove out like an hour to come help me track this deer. And I had 2 other buddies helping me track this deer. And even they were like, I've never seen blood like this and not found a deer. But anyways, so yeah, back to the deer. And so that was day 2. Day 3, went by. We made a couple of good stocks, and just things didn't pan out. So day 4, my buddy had to go back to work, and I had to hunt solo. So I went out and I do hunt, and anyone who hunts with me can vouch for me. I hunt in Crocs, 100%. Spot and stock, hiking miles. I don't care if I'm putting 20 miles on them. I'm hunting in Crocs, and specifically, I hunt in my American flag Crocs. A couple of friends have joked, they call me a Croc stalker because I do spot and stock and Crocs.
Hey,
But
that might be a good T-shirt for your.
hey,
We'll talk about the
yeah,
brand here in a little bit, but it could
yeah,
be a
yeah, yeah,
T-shirt idea for you.
exactly. So I do hunt in Crocs, American flag Crocs specifically. I've killed 2 years in a row in them, so they must be lucky. But so it is pouring rain and it is hailing, and I blew a couple of stocks, and I mean, I was 10 yards from a buck, but there was no shot. I mean, I cut him off perfect. I got in the wash, waited for him to come down, and I don't know if he got my wind or what. Something sent him the other way, blew at me, took off running, and I mean, I was shaking like a leaf because I knew this was a dead deer if he stepped out. Well, didn't step out. Really nice 3-by, and he turned up the hill and ran. So then I spot a nice fork and a spike, and I go after them. Raining, hailing, and it probably took me an hour and a half to make this stalk. And I was probably within 60 yards, but they were just covered in ocotillos and does. And I was, of course, going for the fork, but I wanted a meat buck. And I go back to my truck, and you can see it on our TikTok or whatever. There's videos of it. I'm just drenched, covered in mud, covered in rain, and my socks are wet because I hunt in Crocs, and I'm just covered and miserable. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I called my buddy. I was like, dude, I'm done. And he's like, stick it out. I was like, it's literally hailing and raining and muddy. He's like, stick it out. I was like, all right. He's like, you drove all the way to Arizona. On your last day, you're really going to quit at 1:30 p.m. because of some rain and hail? I was like, yeah, I am. But I didn't. And I knew I wasn't going to. I was just upset because I blew a stock and it was nasty weather. So I'm driving out to a point, and I drive up, and then I start glassing from my truck, which, call me a road hunter, say what you will. It was just too nasty, and they weren't my binos, so I didn't want to ruin them in the rain or anything like that. So I'm glassing from inside my truck, and I spot a herd of mule deer, quite a few does, and a nice deer. Couldn't tell what he was. There was also a fork. So I start my stalk and get out of the truck, leave everything except my bow, my binos, and my rangefinder, which is all in my harness. And I'm literally on my elbows and my knees, crawling through this mud. And mind you, I saw this deer like a mile away, 1.1 miles away. I turn on my tracker, which, if you didn't know, on onX, there's a tracker. Mm-hmm. I turned on my tracker and I start tracking my hike because normally what I do when I get within 100 to 200 yards, I kick my Crocs off, so I'm in socks, so I'm super quiet. Because in socks, A, you're going to watch your step because you don't want cactus in your feet, and B, they're just quieter than shoes are. So that is my reason behind Crocs. However, 2 years in a row, I ended up just keeping my Crocs on. But I turn on my tracker, and that's where I know where I kick my Crocs off, or my pack, wherever I drop it, whatever. So I get within 200 yards, and I pop up and I just start glassing. I want to put eyes on them, make sure they're in the same spot, tons of does. And then I see this deer, and I mean, he's a main frame 5x5 with trash. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And so I get back down. I'm crawling literally through mud on my hands and knees. My bow is just trashed in mud, brand new bow. And I get to where there's a shot. I range it at 18 yards. It's a doe. I range her at 18 yards. And I knew the buck was right behind her. So I stay down, I clip on, I draw back, and I pop up, and that buck just stares me in the eyes. But it was at 18 yards, and it was just too late, and I freaking drilled him. And they all took off running, bunch of does, all this stuff. And I didn't see where he went down. I backed out immediately because it was too good of a buck to risk. I called my buddy, and I'm shaking, dude. Like, my teeth are chattering. I called him. I said, dude, I killed a nice deer. And he's like, okay, whatever. I was like, no, seriously. He's like, okay, well, I'm off work in like an hour. I was like, okay, I'll wait. I was like, I'm not going back in there. I'm not going back in there. I'm waiting till you get here. And I actually drove all the way to his house, which was like an hour away. I knew the deer was fine. I knew no one was going to find it, especially where I was. So I drove an hour back to his house, got a change of clothes because, like I said, I was soaking wet and muddy and nasty. So he gets to his house, and we drive separate all the way out there because he was going to try to hunt a little bit before last light because it was his last day to hunt for the season as well. We find the deer. I find the deer. I went tracking it. He was glassing for his own buck. And I call him. I say, I found it. He's like, all right, well, send me a Snapchat. So I send him a Snapchat of it. And I don't send him a good one. I just send him a Snapchat of antlers, because I'm finally have my hands on this deer. I know he's good. I know he's a big buck. And so I gut him out. And then he comes down and helps me to pack him out because it was quite a pack. And so he's like, dang, like this is a good buck. And it was our last night. And I text some people, I'm like, shot a meat buck on my last night. Wish I could have killed a good deer, like just messing with them. And we get out, and he's broken off, but he's still a mainframe 5x5 with 4 kickers on one side and another one on his left side. We cut him out, quarter him out, do all that. I call Texas because some states you cannot cross state lines with meat unless they're deboned or processed and all this stuff. So I'm calling. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I have to leave at 2 a.m. I'm trying to figure out what I can do and who I can call. So I tag it. We hang up the meat, rinse it out. I leave his house, drive back to Texas. And the first place I stop when I get to Texas is a butcher, which normally I process all my own meat. But I stopped at a butcher. And dude, this deer was nasty, ruddy, pissy. And after listening to your podcast, I wish I would have taken a syringe and kept some of this stuff. After listening to Mountain Man 33 or whatever his name is, who I follow now, Troy
Pottinger.
Yep. I wish I would have. I listened to that one after I did this, or else I would have been more prepared to make my own scrapes here in Texas. But yeah, so drop him off at a butcher. They weighed just the meat, 144 pounds.
Wow.
That's no antlers. That's no guts. That's no skin. I already caped him, everything. That's just 4 quarters and a carcass, So I think we got 84 pounds of ground, just like not counting back straps, not counting anything like that. Just ground meat was 84 pounds, but he was a huge deer with a big swollen neck. And he is broken. He went 177 inches and 3/8 broken. He probably had 9 to 10 inches broken off on that main tine. So he would have went in the high 180s.
So you're gonna have him. You're gonna do a Euro mount, or did you say you caped him out? You're gonna have a
yeah. I caped him out. I'm gonna shoulder mount him. It's a once in a lifetime buck, especially with all the trash he has. Like, even if I kill something bigger, this just main frame and stuff, cool. But no, he just has kickers everywhere and trash everywhere, and the experience and the story behind it, and how hard I hunted for him, and all that. He's getting shoulder mounted. I already got the meat back, but I'm not getting the shoulder mount back for a while. And this is my 3rd shoulder mount. I have 2 whitetail shoulder mounted, both killed in Texas, but this will be my first Arizona shoulder mount. I've killed a couple deer in Arizona, but this is my first shoulder mount.
So let's talk a little bit about American Country Outdoors. Can you kind of explain how you started that and kind of the
Yeah.
what you kind of hope to accomplish with it, or what you got kind of going on over
Yeah,
there?
so the long-term goal is as much as I dislike high fence hunting, the main goal is, to offer videography for like those lawyers and hunters who aren't real hunters that pay to hunt on high fences. And sorry if I offend someone, but they pay big bucks to hunt those deer, and they don't even keep the meat. They donate the meat back to the ranches and stuff like that. So the long term goal is to offer video footage for them because they pay a premium for that stuff, and there's a market for it, believe it or not. But yeah, we originally started by just kind of posting hunting pictures and trail cam photos because I mean, in Texas we run tons of cameras, and we probably get 7 to 8 thousand photos a month. Yeah, a month, and tons of footage and pictures and videos, and we just wanted to start sharing it and posting it. Um, and then my buddy has a marketing degree, almost a marketing degree. I think he's in his senior year. And so he started kind of looking at some butchers who didn't have websites. So we kind of started talking to them about making some websites for them, and some other military individuals that open their own businesses that didn't know about websites. So right now we just kind of do marketing and make websites. But our long term goal is to get into the videography side of hunting and record other people's hunts. We do record our own already. We have tons of footage that we've put a Javelina hunt on YouTube and a couple of other videos and reviews. But I killed a nice 11 pointer on video, and we haven't posted that. My buddy killed a doe on video. We haven't posted that. We killed an axis doe on video. We put it on TikTok, but we haven't posted the real video. Tons of footage that we just, we had kids and stuff, and it's no excuse. You have a kid, and you're doing podcasts and still putting stuff on YouTube, but he's in the police academy right now to be a cop, and he's prior military, and I'm prior military, and I just moved. So we just have a lot of life stuff going on, like everyone. I'm not making excuses. Everyone has these things going on. We've been lazy, so we haven't gotten our footage all on YouTube like we should have. But because of you, we opened up made a TikTok, and we've been posting on TikTok. We had a couple of videos that went pretty nice, but I was so against TikTok at first because of all the girls on there, and I didn't want my wife thinking I was just on there looking at chicks shaking their butts because that's all that's on there. But the algorithms, if you only like hunting videos, that's what's going to show up for you, is hunting videos and fishing videos and stuff like that. So we've made a TikTok, started liking and only sharing hunting stuff, and it's been great, dude. I mean, in like a week we've gained like 215 followers, which is you can't do on another website.
Real quick, can you throw your phone in your lap and kind of getting some vibration from the desk?
My bad, man.
It's all good.
I'll just unplug it and throw it on the on the ground.
So just back to TikTok. Yeah, I was super against it too, and I ended up downloading it. I heard about like kind of how much organic reach and everything you could get from it, and I just started posting hunting content too. And like you said, the algorithm builds, and next thing you know, that's all you see in your feed. So
yeah,
if you're watching girls shake their ass quite frequently, then that's probably going to be what shows up. So if your wife goes and scrolls on your TikTok and she sees either deer or girl shaking her ass, she'll know if you're guilty or innocent.
No, I'm not worried about that. It just was like, that's all that shows up. But what does make me mad is there are girls who are under 18 and they're showing tits and ass on there, and they don't get blocked. But how is it that I show a dead deer? I don't show myself killing the deer. I just show a nice set of antlers, and I get blocked. I've had 4 or 5 videos blocked on there, and it's literally just deer antlers. Like, it is
Yeah.
deer antlers, and I get blocked. And then I get so frustrated that there are 16, 17-year-old girls. Matter of fact, no, there are 14-year-old girls on there. I know, posting stuff that they should not be posting, and they don't get blocked. Like, that
Yeah.
should not be allowed on the internet. But here I am
So
posting antlers.
anybody that's not familiar with TikTok, it's basically short videos that you post. It's very similar to Vine, something that was popular probably 2013 or so. But they also have a live feature like they do on Instagram and Facebook, and you can kind of scroll different live
Hmm.
feeds. And I often see girls on there wearing very little
Scandalous.
clothing,
Yeah.
working out or whatever, basically fishing for likes, and you
Yep.
can kind of do tips and and gifts and stuff on there. And I've really wanted to do. I've got actually a wild pig skull that I was gonna kind of Euro mount and take to work, just something to hang
Hmm.
up cool at work. And I've been
Yep.
really
Yep.
wanting
Yep.
to do that on a TikTok live, but I know these girls, are half naked on there or whatever, and I just can't get by with doing like a skinning a pig skull and
Nope.
cleaning it up
Dude, you'll
and
get
showing
banned.
kind of
You'll get
a
banned.
yeah.
That's
So
offensive. That's offensive.
it's constantly a battle,
Yeah.
and I'm on my second TikTok account after almost being banned on the other one.
Yep.
So we battle with that, but we're gonna
Oh,
keep
it's so
keep on the
frustrating.
TikTok.
But it's so easy, to meet the community and reach the people you want to reach on there. But, I don't know if we already mentioned Go Wild on here. I think we
Yeah,
did. But, Go Wild is just awesome. It's uncensored hunting. It's a hunting Instagram essentially, and you can post your trophies and you get free stuff for posting and coupons. So people who are listening to this and I'm not an advocate for them, but go on to Go Wild, download Go Wild, and also put Hunt the Wild podcast. I believe you get 10%, right, for putting
yeah,
Hunt the
yeah.
Wild podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
recently picked up Go Wild as a sponsor. It just
awesome.
kind of happened out of the blue, but I was super happy when they asked me to do it. It was a no-brainer for me because I had heard of the app probably a year ago or something. I think there was an ad or a sponsorship from the Hunting Public on one of their shows or
Yeah.
something, but you hear ads and you're just kind of like, oh, it's an ad or whatever. So I guess I just kind of blew it off, but I ended up meeting some of the guys that Go Wild and downloading the app, and man, I'm just consumed with it. I
Dude, me too.
absolutely love it. I love being able to post
And
my
it's not real
photos on
social
there.
media. It's
Yeah,
not like social media. It's like it's hunters meeting hunters. That's all it is. I mean, that's how we met, and I met a guy who invited me to go duck hunting. He has a boat and a couple of dogs, and he invited me to go duck hunting here in Texas and return next January. When I go to my Arizona trip, I just take him with me. He's like, I don't even have to kill anything. I just want to go with you. And in return, I'll take you duck hunting here in Texas. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, like, so next duck season, which is before archery season in Arizona for me, he's like, I'll hit you up and we'll go duck hunting, So, I mean, you can build connections and it's crazy.
yeah. A lot of times you'll notice, even just in the hunting community, you'll get people that fight back and forth over different gear,
Hmm.
over different people's different ethics on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. But on Go Wild, I'll have to say, the time that I've been on there, I haven't had one negative comment. I haven't had any negative
Nope.
feedback. It just seems like everybody there is there for the right reasons, and
Yep. It's
um,
positivity and it's the outdoor community, and it's not the outdoor community that bashes you for using a single cam bow, or why do you use this type of binos, like, they don't bash you for killing a spike, they nothing like that. It's like they're just happy to see outdoors post and it not be censored, and I think that's why we're all on that app.
yeah, it's a great app. They do sell stuff on there. Like Kurt mentioned, 10% use code. I believe it's
Mhm.
HTP, Hunt the Wild Podcast, or it might be HTW. But it's
You need to
actually
look. You need to make sure you get your code
yeah,
right.
yeah, it's in the intro actually to this
Okay.
podcast, so you'll hear that. But it's 10% off your first order. But they do offer as you post pictures and stuff on there, you get points, and you earn actual free stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean free stuff as in no shipping, no hidden costs, no nothing. As you
No,
earn points,
$0.00, and it
there
comes to your doorstep.
I've gotten a shirt, I've got sticker
Yep.
packs from them,
Yep.
lots of great discounts on I don't want to push an ad too long on here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
there's tons of stuff, discounts on gear. It's
So
definitely worth looking into.
yeah. So like you're saying, I don't want to push an ad either, especially not even for myself. But I bought a tripod off there because my tripod is old and worn out, and I bought a Vortex tripod, and I got it from posting. I posted enough, and I got a discount code for 50% off a Vortex 50% off Vortex item.
Yeah.
Well, this Vortex item was $699, and it was on sale for $499. And in addition, they still let me use my 50% off coupon.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid no shipping, and it came to my doorstep, and it is an awesome tripod. So, like, it's just mind blowing, man. It's just an app for hunters. But like you said, let's get off that topic. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
push it too hard, but it's I only push it because it's like awesome for our community.
So what's your plans for 2022? You're going to travel quite a bit. I know you mentioned you're
Yes.
going to go to Illinois. You got any other states lined up?
Yeah, so New Mexico is a no bonus point state. I put in for pronghorn. I put in for mule deer, rifle tag actually, surprisingly. But I put in on a group tag for that one with a buddy of mine, and then archery elk. Put in for Arizona elk, Arizona pronghorn. Definitely going to go in January for over the counter. Uh, the other co-owner of American Country Outdoors, we're looking at. So we haven't looked strongly into Colorado, but his in-laws live in Colorado, so I think that's going to be on the list in the next year or two. We're going to Illinois. His family's from Iowa, so we're definitely strongly looking into Iowa. And then after listening to your podcast, I'm kind of looking into Pennsylvania because this sounded
Yeah.
pretty fairly priced and pretty cheap. And I used to be super work driven, and I wanted the big job and the big bucks and making all the good money. And then after my grandpas kind of worked their whole life, and after 1 year of retirement, they both passed away. Well, one's still sick. I can't say he passed away, but he's not doing great. But after 1 year of retirement, they both got extremely sick, and one passed away, and one is in hospice. So you know what hospice is. That's sadly that's where you go to die. But I'm not willing to work my whole life and not get to do the things that I love. So as of last year, I re-geared, and I'm going into hunting more. And I'm going to make sure I hunt every state. You and I were texting Kentucky. I'm dead serious about it. I will put Kentucky on my list this year or next year. I don't even have to have PTO. I'll take unpaid time off. I'm hunting. That's my passion, and that's what I'm going to do. And as long as my bills are paid, then I think I should be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I know you hunt out west a lot.
yeah.
Have you ever sat in a tree stand?
Okay, so I killed my first buck, which hold on, he's a big one.
Let's see it.
Uh, a little bitty 7-point, which I guess some people might not count. I guess you have to
It's
count
countable. It's
that.
countable.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a little 7-point, and he went 86, and this is before I knew how to actually measure. So I put 86.5 inches. So what's half in eighths? It's 4/8, I guess you would say. 86, and that was in 8 November 2018 with John, who's my big hunting partner and all that. Still has the tag on him. I build it out myself. This was my first archery buck, not my first buck, but my first archery buck. And
It's not a bad buck.
no, definitely not. I shot him at 52 yards, and he
Wow.
did not go 5 yards. I mean, he dropped like a rock. Uh, I pulled back. He was at 30 yards. I pulled back, and he was chasing a doe. He was hot in the rut. My buddy was sitting next to me, and I said, he ran up around this little tree. I said, range him. He said, 52. Perfect shot.
Ground
Dropped him
blind
like
or
a
tree
rock.
stand?
Ground blind. And
Ground blind.
yeah, and then out of the exact same ground blind, my buddy killed a 105-inch buck 10 minutes. No, okay, not 10 minutes. 30 minutes before that, out of the same blind, same day, killed a buck. He drug his buck out, set it aside, and came back into the blind to help me for the rest of the day because it was our last day of the hunt. But no, I've sat in tree stands. My dad killed a turkey with me sitting right next to him out of a tree stand. I've killed turkeys, but always in ground blind with a bow. Like I've never killed anything out of a tree stand.
Scared of heights?
No, absolutely not. I want to get into saddle hunting now that I'm back in Arizona, but I mean, now that I'm back in Texas, I've just been spot and stalk. I love spot and stalk. Ground blinds are boring. I play phone games, and people may bash me, but take me on one-on-one on spot and stalk.
Yeah.
I'll put my monies in there.
I'm sure
But I just get bored in blinds now.
I'm sure spot and stalk can be done in Indiana and Kentucky, kind of where I
Hmm.
hunt, but
I mean, it can be done
there's a
anywhere.
lot of thick and it would be kind of tricky,
Yep.
but yeah, man, if you get a saddle or I'm gonna rock a saddle this year, but I got
Yeah.
a climber, a hang on. If you come to Kentucky or Indiana, we can try to hit some public sometime and get you in a tree stand and
Oh yeah,
let you
dude.
feel out what all
Yeah.
that's about. I don't even want to hunt;
So
I just want to film.
yeah, so I've actually to practice shooting out of a tree stand. I heard you have to like bend at the hips. You
Yeah,
don't
so
just like lean over. So
yeah,
I
you
shot
want to.
off of my roof. I've shot targets off of my roof just to practice that.
How'd
And
that feel?
I was pretty accurate. I was more scared
Yeah,
about falling off the roof because I wasn't in a harness.
yeah,
But that's how they say to practice is get up there and actually do it. And I made good, accurate shots. Those are 20-yard shots, and I'm used to shooting a little bit further range. So I definitely want to do that. But I've done tons of ground blind, tons of spot and stock, tons of just sitting in the grass and making my own blind. But never hunted out of a tree stand.
ever thought about coming to Indiana?
You you tell me you have a spot, and I'll come to Indiana this year. And that's not me talking out of my behind. I don't
Yeah,
want to cuss on your podcast. That's not me talking out of behind. I'll be there.
we can cuss. We're uncensored here.
All right. Well, that's not me talking out of my ass. I'm coming. If you tell me you got a spot or I'm welcome there, I'll be there, man.
Yeah,
Even if it's just for a doe, I'll save for it. Money's not the issue. I'll make sure I budget for that. I won't eat out. I won't buy that McDonald's or whatever you want to say, and I'll make sure I have the money to hunt.
yeah.
So
There's a decent piece of public land that I actually haven't ever hunted. About an hour north of me, Hoosier National Forest.
mm,
I've hunted quite a bit of public around me, but that's something that I've been wanting to check out, maybe with another person. But yeah,
yeah,
there's quite a bit of deer killed up there every year, and it's a vast place. I mean, I'm sure you're
yeah,
used to pretty vast areas, but up there you can get lost. So
yeah,
there's definitely potential to kill monsters up there. A lot of people, Indiana, I feel like is a very overlooked state. A lot of people have been attracted to Kentucky for the velvets and
yeah,
Illinois
yep,
for the
yep.
giant bucks, but
Hmm.
there's some big deer. I believe it's the new. Is it typical or non-typical? Was shot in Indiana this year. Shot with a crossbow.
I think I saw that actually on the Book of Faces. I believe that's where I saw it. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that's where I saw it.
it's a few hours north of me, but yeah,
Yeah.
Indiana, they grow big bucks. I'm not sure what out of state tags cost, but
I mean,
we can get it lined out.
honestly, there's big bucks in every single state.
Yeah,
It's just are you willing to put in the time? Are you willing to put in the efforts? And if people say they don't have big deer in their states, that's because they shoot babies. And I mean, trust me, I was going to shoot a fork this year. Like I said, I was willing to shoot that fork. I want to meat for my freezer. Um, I do target big deer, but I'm willing to shoot a meat buck if I only have one tag. I'm not going to go tag soup. I'm taking
Yeah.
something home. And I know you can't shoot big deer if you shoot little ones, so I don't do that at the beginning of the season. And I know people say don't shoot, don't pass on the first day, shoot on the last day. But I'm not of that mindset. I go for the big ones at the beginning, and then when it's coming time to go home, I'm taking meat home. Period.
That's what I do. Yep, that's what
Yeah,
I do.
I hunt hard for the big ones, but then when it's meat time, I'm not going home with an empty cooler.
Yeah, I mean, when
So,
it boils down to it, for me anyway, meat definitely is top
mhm,
priority. I
yeah,
definitely do want to kill a big buck, but like you said,
yeah,
I'm not going to eat tag soup. I'm going to shoot a spike or a fork if it comes down to it. Now, I haven't
yeah,
had to do that in the recent years,
yeah. Me too. Me
but
too.
I definitely am not against it. So, can you kind of tell everybody where they can connect with you? Maybe there's some people down
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Texas or Arizona where you go, or maybe you're going to travel to
Mhm.
Illinois and somebody's going to be around that area. But tell everybody where to connect with you, where to find you if they have questions, if they want to hook up with you, maybe have you film their hunts.
Yeah, I'll even film hunts for free, man. We want that to be our business in the future, but right now it's not. And we have nice recording gear, really nice recording gear. I personally hate self filming. My partner loves self filming. So I'm trying to shoot a buck, and if I'm not getting it on camera, well, I'm shooting the buck. He wants to make sure he gets it on camera. So but anyways, yeah, no. If you look up American Country Outdoors with no spaces, we're on Instagram, or American Country Outdoors on YouTube with spaces, which I know it's a little bit confusing, but TikTok, American Country Outdoors, no spaces. Or you can just search me personally, Kirt Box, KIRTBOX. Very simple name. Uh, link up with me, man. If you're coming to Texas, or if you want to go hunt a state, reach out to me. I'm down to hunt any state. I don't care how hard it is, and I'm just out there to have a good time. And antlers on the wall are definitely a bonus. I want to kill the big bucks. Like I said, I target big bucks. I see big bucks every year, but if it boils down to it, I'm shooting whatever I can to put meat in my freezer.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah,
Yep.
guys, reach out to Kurt. He's pretty knowledgeable in hunting and stuff, and we've talked quite a bit. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and taking the time. I know we've had this
Yeah.
lined up for a couple weeks, and a little bit of
Actually,
delay
dude,
this
a
evening, but
month now, a
yeah,
month
it's been
now.
a month.
I almost killed my buck a month ago already. So,
Yeah, time
yeah,
time
definitely.
flies, but yeah, I've been looking forward to doing this show. So I'm glad we finally were able to get it kind of lined out and get it
Yeah.
up.
No, me too. And I definitely look forward to hunting together in the future, man. I'm very serious about it, and yeah, I look forward to it. And thanks
Cool,
for having
man.
me on.
Yep, you're welcome. I will catch up with you soon and stay safe, man.
Hey, you too. Thanks, man. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
We'll see ya.
Later, Adam.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Hunt the Wild podcast. If you enjoyed the show and it's brought you some sort of value, I'd love if you could give me a rating and a review. Just a few seconds of your time can help me better understand the type of content you all enjoy, and it would mean the world to me to hear from all of you.